my name is Courtney Watsola, and this is for my Introduction to Social Welfare course. This video is going to discuss the history of social welfare systems through the institutional, residual, and developmental views. The institutional view of social welfare is one which believes that social welfare is a legitimate need for people, and it's needed to function in today's modern society. Under the institutional view, there is a belief that the elderly at some point should retire and are in need of income. Therefore, services such as Social Security are considered institutional because they supply the elderly with a viable income once they are no longer employed. Other things such as workers' compensation are considered institutional because when somebody's on the job and they are hurt on the job, under an institutional view of social welfare, you would believe that person is still employed, which means they should still have the opportunity to have income even when they are injured due to the fact that their injury was not their fault or was caused by their working conditions. In general, the institutional view says that social welfare is a regular part of society. It is something that's permanent and should be available at all times, and it's also necessary because at points in time social welfare is needed to function, and it's also a desirable part of our social structure because it helps people. In complete contrast from the institutional view, residual sees social welfare as needing to be minimalized. So it should not be used as a dependent service. So if you have a residual view of social welfare, you would believe that individuals should support their own needs within the market, and when the market starts to fall apart, say they lose their job, they should be going to their family for assistance before they go to social welfare programs. And if under this view, people almost always believe that if society was organized better, that the need for social welfare and social workers would be completely unnecessary. So overall, under the residual view of social welfare, there's an eligibility is based on providing a need, but not sustaining or surviving, much like the institutional view was. The developmental view kind of goes a little bit further than the institutional view, where they focus on human development as the core of the developmental view. Citizens in a modern, complex society may need a variety of goods and services to develop to their full capacity, which basically means in order to reach where you should be as a functioning individual of the society, social welfare services are often needed to get to that point. And many times people never reach a point of their full capacity because they don't seek out these services. So developmental views believe that to participate, achieve, and maintain a desired standard of living means that social welfare services are needed as a part of your life. The view that I agree with the most would have to be the institutional view. I think residual is extremely narrow, and people don't always have family resources close to them to be able to help them sustain their lives if something happens, like they lose their job unexpectedly, or even when people have children and that becomes an extra expense, and some people live out of state and away from their families. I do believe that social welfare should be there and available readily to people, so the institutional view is where I lie close with in my own values. The developmental view is a little beyond what I believe. I think it's too broad and open, where it kind of leaves some room for error, where the institutional view still has set standards, and I do believe that social welfare programs should have standards and things that need to be in place in order to ensure that the people getting those resources are in need of those resources, such as the elderly with their Social Security and people who are hurt on the job getting their workers' compensation. Those are needs, but sometimes people abuse social welfare systems, and I think that's kind of the gray area with developmental, where you can kind of get away with saying you're up and coming instead of using it to help sustain your current efforts.